How's it going, bourbon hunters? Today I'm going to be doing a little bourbon hunting here at the Bottle Shoppe in Columbus, Georgia. Um, Anybody that's been in Columbus, Georgia or in the area of this spot knows about this place. They have a huge single barrel selection, probably one of the biggest, maybe in Georgia. It's huge, it's crazy, especially a lot of interesting things. Before I go in here, if you don't mind liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. This is going to be the only store I hit in this video, and it's going to be probably a longer video because their selection is so big. Alright, let's get after it and see what they have. So immediately walking in, they have a Frey Ranch single barrel. It is a single barrel rye, straight rye, 122.98 proof. I think this is the only place that got one of these barrels east of Texas, is what they told me last time, and they have plenty of it. Good rye. I've never had this one before, but I had the bourbon, and the single barrel bourbon they had was amazing. So that's pretty interesting. Over here they have a Old Soul cast strength single barrel, 126.75. Like I said, outside, this place is known for their single barrel selections. They just get a lot of things that you don't see in local areas, especially around here. And they have plenty of this as well. And the bourbon selection is huge, so I'm going to kind of go through here. They have a Maker's Mark private selection. This is 111 proof. Some Hooten Young. Some High West. Down here they have some Wyoming whiskey. Old Pepper. Up top they have some of your barrel whiskeys. They have a 20-year-old Decade, a private release. Some Old Elk down here. They have your Michter small batch, some Balcones. On the back side over here, they have some Doc Swinsons. This is a single barrel. Pinhook 10-year single barrel. This is 115 proof. That's a beautiful bottle. Smoke Wagon single barrel, 7 years. 115 proof. Another one of those Doc Swinsons. Right here you have some Four Roses single barrel, 100 proof. You have those Duck Clubs, the High Brass, and the regular bourbon. Four Roses selection here. And then you have a Maker's Mark Keeper's Release. Starting over here, you have, I'm going to kind of break this down in sections. You have a Jimmy Red Double Oaked Wilderness Trail single barrel. You have your Kings County Distillery. More of those Pinhooks. Jimmy Red Classic Bourbon. And then you have a Sweet Mash Bottled and Bond. I don't know if I've ever seen a Jimmy Red Double Oaked. They have Hard Truth, Sweet Mash Bourbon, Sweet Mash Weeded Bourbon here, Redwood Empire, and then your Green River's down at the bottom. And then they have a Filibuster. I don't know if I've seen that ever either. Some pretty interesting stuff here. Up here you got Murray Hill Club. You got a Joseph Magnus, finished in sherry and cognac cask. Your Calumets, 8, 10, and 15. Meta Monardy. I don't know if I've ever heard of this either. This is the bourbon whiskey. This is just a little bit under 100 proof. And this is 105 proof. Where's this out of? Matchbook Distillery. Notes: banana, ginger, pepper, and hay. This one is pretty interesting, and it's a cool bottle too. Old Bardstown. Got Yellowstone down here at the bottom. Got some Hazelbaker, some Nulus, 2 Nulu store picks. This one's a tawny port. Heaven's Door. Some Smoke Eye Hill. Some Dancing Panda, 4, 8, and 10 years. A couple bottles of Healing Station down there. That's a Memphis favorite. You get some more down at the bottom. Dominique, I don't know who that is, basketball player. And then a short barrel down here at the bottom. 2 XOs. You got a double oak. You got a rare character limited release here. Another rare character limited release. Some Peerless bourbons. Some Widow Janes. Some Paul Suttons. Filmland. Some Chattanooga whiskey companies. It's bottled in bond. Some Blue Run up at the top. You got all of it, pretty much. Horse Soldier. Red Line. This is the Hive edition. It's distilled in Indiana. New Riff 8. They even got some New Riff single barrels. I didn't even see those. Those are store picks as well. Some more Old Soul. Some Ben Holiday soft red wheat, regular Ben Holiday bourbon, and then you got down here some other bourbons. Blue Note. This is a single barrel as well. This is 118 proof. You got OH Ingram River Aged, 105 proof. Up here you got some Dark Arts staff picks. Mizerna Oak Stave straight bourbon, 8 years. Bunch of those bottles. Blue Note cast finish series. This is a pretty crazy looking bottle. It's a golf ball on top. Penelope's, Angel's Envy. This is a 10-year cast strength Angel's Envy. 122.6 proof. Milam and Green. Penelope's. Town Branch down here. You got some Journeyman Distillery. This place's selection is just insane. Heaven Hills, Grain of Glass. You got the limited edition for the year, Heaven Hill, and the Chickapin barrels. Elijah Craig, small batch. You got Elijah Craig, barrel proof rise. I've heard a lot of good things about this one. This is 120 proof, 11 years, 11 months, so just shy of 12 years old. More bourbon. Gypsy, you got some Doc Holidays, 13 years old. Barrel strength rise from Woodford. Jack Daniels selections down here. They have a Jack Daniels single barrel at 131 proof. Typical Old Forester selection. You have your Jefferson's Reserve over here with a cast strength. Typical Old Forester stuff. More Jim Beam stuff over here. You got some Knob Creek. You got a foolproof single barrel here, 1792. Some Baker's 7s. Some of this year's Booker's releases. Down here at the bottom, you got these early time bottled in bonds. I've heard this is supposed to be changing up, so we'll have to see if it changes or not. And then on this side, you got an A125 Elijah Craig barrel proof. Larceny barrel proofs. You got Bernheim barrel proofs. You got some Evan Williams single barrels from 2016. Some Old Elks. You have a port finish, Armagnac finish, a wheat and rye, copper and cask, Smoke Wagon. You got some Starlight down here. You have a bottled in bond. You have a store single barrel. That's just a regular bourbon that's not finished anything. You have a toasted barrel, a Honey Reserve. Some High West bourbon. Epsy House. I've never even heard of this place either. Watershed, 3-chord. Some Wild Turkey. Standard picks. No, I'm just doing a video right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm recording, showing what you guys got. You got some Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit, Russell's Reserve 10, Rare Breed. Up here you got a Buckner's 13, a Buckner's 10, a Buckner's 8. This Buckner's 13 is sitting at 138 proof. I got 2 bottles of this. I've heard a bunch of good stuff about this one right here. More of your standard stuff. I keep hearing good stuff about this. I haven't tried it yet. This is probably one I'm going to have to try before I buy it. Wyoming Whiskey Company. James E. Pepper decanter. 106 proof. Down here you got some 13th Colony maple finished bourbon. Regular bourbon. Some J.W. Kelly, which I've heard this is really, really good as hell. This is a J.W. Kelly double oaked. And this is a Old Milford bourbon. I've heard it's really, really good. I haven't tried this. This is interesting. And this is more of the ryes over here that they have. So ryes, they have Angel Envy rye. Some Michter's single barrel ryes down at the bottom. Blue Note ryes. They have the Sazerac 100 down here. That's the liter bottle. Bullet 10. They have a Nulu toasted rye. Old Elk Rare Character rye, batch 5 and 7. Peerless toasted rye. Get your Blue Run rye. RY3. Knob Creek 10 rye. A Russell's Reserve rye, the Rare Breed and the single barrels. Nashville Barrel Company rye. It's a cast strength, 111 proof. Over here, you got some Hard Truth ryes. You have a 117 proof sweet mash rye. Jack Daniel's single barrel rye. That's a Coy Hill warehouse. That's a 134 proof. I think these all back here are Coy Hills. So if you're looking for some Coy Hill ryes, there are some here. Frey Ranch. There's that single barrel rye at Frey Ranch we talked about earlier. Some more J.W. Kelly ryes. 13th Colony rye. That's not the cast strength, I don't think. You got all your barrel bourbons. Some Garrison Brothers. You got a 4-gate 8-year-old rye. Elijah Craig ryes. Roaming Man, some Starlight. And then to round off their bourbon aisle they have, or their rye aisle they have, Southern Collective Spirit Company, single barrel rye, 113 proof. Oh, that's a bourbon, that's not even a rye. Straight bourbon. Jep the Creed. And then down here at the bottom, I've heard good things about these as well. These Silver Springs sweet ryes. 119 proof. Heard those are really good as well. Alright, here you get to go.
Hey, what's up? So I'm Will. I work here at the Bottle Shoppe. Been here for about 8 months now as an employee. Been shopping here since they opened in 2016. Been around for a little while. Got to know the staff here pretty well, kind of their program, know their palate pretty well. I've been drinking their picks for a long time. We have 45 single barrel picks.
Yeah.
Whiskey in the store right now.
I was going through and it's hard to keep up with them because there's so many.
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
I always kind of knew there was a lot. Obviously, you could see most of them, but we were updating the website recently, and of course, they'd retake pictures of everything and get some information on everything. So actually seeing it and looking at it is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about any of them, we can kind of start and make the loop, kind of ending over here with our kind of, I wouldn't say overflow, but you know, some stuff that's gotten kind of low, not enough to have its own space. Of course, start here at Old Soul. So if you don't know about Old Soul, of course, Jackson, Mississippi. This one is around 7 years old. Fun fact, they get the mash from MGP, of course, but they get it trucked to Jackson, Mississippi in tankers, which a little unique. Not many places are doing it quite like that. Old Soul in the past for me has been very hit or miss. This one, I remember buying this bottle before I actually tasted it. They had opened it and they were letting it sit and air out a little bit, and I had smelled it, and it just smelled wonderful. I would say more so than not recently I've been enjoying the Old Soul stuff, and of course now it's regular Old Soul.
Yeah.
They have their own distillate. So I think that turned out really well. This is one of our Garrison Brothers picks. We have 2 of them. This one is the one that's 132.7 proof. The other one's 131. So very similar in proof, very similar in profile. Picked right around the same time as each other. These came from small barrels, so we're talking like 20, 25 bottle yields out of a barrel. So very small, of course. That's partially why they're kind of expensive. They're about $175. Since then, Garrison Brothers has hit a lot of milestones and accomplished a lot of things that they needed to for their investors, people that helped them start originally. So hopefully their cost starts to go down. They get the bigger barrels.
I've had some of their stuff before, and it's pretty good. Some of it you gotta, the Texas whiskey kind of strong sometimes.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It's a very acquired taste, and I think there's a lot of room for a lot of variables in that. So where I've had some of these that I'm like, I don't like that at all. And if that's all I had ever tried from them, I would have probably told you that I don't like Garrison Brothers or Texas whiskey in general for the most part. I I would agree that in my opinion, these are really, really good.
Mhm.
I've had both of them. I think they continue to get better the longer they're open. I think it's one of those that you definitely need to let open up and let really change in for the better. Not always the case, but it does work
Yeah.
with these. This is Frey Ranch. Of course, Frey Ranch is 100% farm to glass. Nobody touches it but them. They plant it, they harvest it, they do everything themselves. This is one of 5 cast strength ryes from them in the entire country. This is the only one east of Texas, so kind of unique, especially to this area. The cast strength rye, in my opinion, this Frey Ranch rye is the best rye we have in the store.
Really?
We have a lot of ryes in the store. I've had some favorites over the years, and even since I've been working here, but this one kind of takes the cake. We're talking candied fruit, sweetness, and it is 100% rye as well. It's got
Mhm.
malted barley in it, and for it being that, it's incredibly unique. And it is $114, so it's not the cheapest bottle in the world. I do think it's worth every bit of the $114 price tag that we put on it. I am on my second one of these now. I'm sure before they're gone, I will get another one.
Yeah. I had the bourbon that you guys had got from them, and it was really good. Yeah, and that's really good.
Absolutely. I think Frey Ranch has been killing it. I think they're doing really great things, and I think they continue to improve.
Yep.
I don't think there was ever a point where I was against anything that I had from them, but I do think it's continuing to get better, and I think it's going to continue to get better. So, of course, moving on, this is one of 2 Bardstown picks we have right now. The other one's going to be this rye. This was one of my favorite ryes in the entire store before the Frey Ranch showed up. It is still an absolutely phenomenal rye at $85, so you're looking, a decent bit cheaper, a little bit easier to pull the trigger on. These are finished in cherry wood and American oak wood. So what they do, they call them zebra barrels. They alternate the staves in the barrels when they're making this. It adds a lovely, really bright cherry note to it. I think it's quite phenomenal. It's definitely a sweeter rye. I think it's a rye for people that think they don't like rye. It's one that I try to get people to try.
I've liked some of those ryes that they started finishing with things, because like you get rye spice, but it kind of sweetens it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think finished ryes are a phenomenal product.
Yeah.
I think a lot of finishes that don't quite work with bourbon or maybe overdone with bourbon end up being really phenomenal in a rye.
I had a French oak finished rye, and it's just amazing.
Gosh,
Yeah.
yes, that like double oaking ryes, I think it's phenomenal. Even like Amberana, which I'm not a big fan of Amberana. Statistically, of course, I've had quite a few different Amberana finishes, and it's not really been my thing. But Amberana finishes in ryes, like we have a Dark Arts rye that's finished in Amberana. Of course, it's not a store pick, but it's phenomenal. The rye cuts it really well. It makes it just the right amount. It's not overdone. It's phenomenal. Of course, our Bardstown bourbon pick. This is a more recent pick that we've done at 114 proof. So you're getting that proof over of course, the regular white label bourbon on the shelf. I think it just brings out a lot more of the flavor. I think you're just getting a ton more out of it, and not for a substantial price jump.
Yeah.
Of course, at $85, I think that's also a phenomenal price. On this way to Maker's Mark. Of course, the beauty of Maker's Mark is, one, you're almost always getting a full barrel because of their process. So lots of bottles, lots of options. In my opinion, this is my favorite thing that Maker's Mark does. Even with their keepers release, their special releases, and their high-end stuff, their cellar aged, all that good stuff. I think across the board, if I had to pick one product from Maker's Mark that I think generally always is going to be good, it's going to be a Private Select. Now, I've had some that I wasn't as big a fan of, but in general, it's just for what you're getting, $80. You're going to get a unique, interesting, great product from Maker's
Yeah, I like
Mark.
how they mix the staves up and they do the different staves, and it
Absolutely.
definitely changes the flavor of it completely.
It's quite a fun process if you ever get a chance to do it. Do a lot of research, of course, look into it, but the way it's done here, of course, a couple of us get together and pick stave profiles, and of course they mix those stave profiles together to give you a sense of what it's going to taste like with that profile, and then we all blind them and vote on them blindly. And the winner, of course, is the one we go with, and that's the one that ends up in the store. The same guy's won like 3 years in a row, so he knows what he's doing. He's good. Exactly.
The palates of the guys that pick here are just.
It's
I've
phenomenal.
had multiple store picks from here, and they're just always good. Always
Absolutely. And we're talking managers and owners, like people that truly care about good whiskey.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about, and they're good at it. Like you said, there hasn't been any misses for me here. I mean, of course, there's been some that I've liked more than others, but in general, if it's here, I don't have to really think about it.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be pretty good. Of course, this is Castle and Key. This is their bourbon. Now, we've done quite a few rye picks with them. We have on the shelf currently a 2024 behind this, and down there we have a 2023 restoration rye from them. Phenomenal ryes. I think they're lean a little more traditional ryes. Some people get some sweetness off of them. It kind of varies palate to palate. But through that relationship built, we got to do this bourbon pick. It's 103 proof and 6 years old. It is the first single barrel bourbon in the state of Georgia from Castle and Key, and the second in the entire country when it was picked. So once again, very exclusive, unique, and for a $60 bottle, this is phenomenal. I push people here all the time, and as you can see, what you see right here, the few bottles in that row, and that's all that's left of it.
I think one of the best things about the store is like the unique picks that you guys get, because everybody gets like the typical picks, like the standard stuff, but you guys have just a unique profile of things
Absolutely.
that you guys all over the place.
And through, of course, a lot of relationships built and connections throughout the years, of course, we do get access to quite a lot of things that a lot of places don't, which is also quite beneficial, of course. This, and of course, if you've never done research on Castle and Key, if you've never looked into the backstory, of course, it used to be the old Taylor Distillery back during Prohibition, and then Prohibition killed that distillery like it did most places. It sat abandoned for a long time. And then in 2014, of course, the owners of Castle and Key found the property, bought it, and restored it. They wanted to keep it as that unique castle design that he had made. It wanted it to be a place people could come and enjoy.
Yeah.
So if you get the chance to go, it's quite the experience.
Yeah. The only place I've been to is Jack Daniel's, but I have it on a list to make it up to Kentucky and check out some of the spots.
Of course, it's absolutely worth going. So, Pinhook. This is one that we try to do every year. We've done one every age-stated one since they were 5 years old. So quite a few of these over the year. Of course, they go up $10 in price every year, and we get less and less bottles every year.
Yeah.
The longer it sits in the barrel, the less you're going to get out of it. These, I think, have consistently gotten better every single year. I think the jump from 9 to 10 was a pretty big jump for me. I thought it was substantially better. Pinhook was one that until, I would say, about a year and a half ago, I didn't know a lot about. Never really looked into them, never tried their products, and somebody had sent me a sample of one, and I finally got to try it, and I was like, this is great. I should not have slept on this for so long, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And there's not many more than this. I think there's a couple over there, but this is another one that has gone really quickly, and it's been moving through. Starlight, of course, out of Indiana. So a lot of people kind of look at this label real quick, not knowing a lot about Starlight. They see that it was distilled in Indiana, and they just assume it's MGP. It's not. It is Indiana distillate, but it's Starlight's distillate.
Yeah, I think I've had this one, and then they have a bunch of different finishes that they do.
There are, and we carry quite a few of those products as well. I think they do a good job of having a wide range of products, kind of for everybody in general. So this one, of course, is 4 years old and 118 proof. I just bought another bottle of this because the other one ran out. This is one that I thought was a really good bottle when I opened it, and I would say about down to the star. It didn't take it terribly long, but it opened up so well, and as soon as it did, I think I'm on my third one now.
Yeah.
But in general, these have been absolutely fantastic. Another one that's, at a great price point for $60. It's not something that's really difficult to talk somebody into at $60, especially if they've never had it. It's not much more than you could get one of their standard products on the shelf for.
Okay.
And I do think it's a step up from most of their.
I think anytime I can get a single barrel versus the standard of the product, especially here, the single barrels are just awesome.
Absolutely. So this is last year's. Well, I say last year's. We're in 2026 now. So this is the 2024 Angels Envy pick we did. It is a ruby port finish, which is the same port finish that's on most of the shelf products that you see being port finished. This one was really good. So me personally, not a big fan of Angels Envy. There's a couple other products that I think are pretty good, but general consensus for me is I've not been a huge fan of Angels Envy. This one had a really nice chocolate note, but it still had that winey, porty finish that I've not really been a big fan of. There's not a whole lot left of these. Of course, they've been here since 2014. Some people have really loved them. If you like the stuff on the shelf, you're going to love this pick. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then, of course, this year, we got the tawny port finish. So this one to me leans away from that traditional port wine finish. It was a very surprising pour when I tried this for the first time.
Yeah, I've kind of been a hit or miss with Angels Envy as well. Some of their stuff is like, I've noticed once I let it open up a little bit more, I like it a little bit more. And then some of the stuff, kind of like how you're saying, I'm like, it's a little winey flavor.
Absolutely. So this one, the best way to describe this to people is Ferrero Rocher chocolate. in a
Really?
glass.
Oh wow.
Toasted hazelnuts, chocolate, really bright, deep, rich fruit notes. It's the only Angel's Envy product that I've wanted to buy another one of. I've owned 2 of these now. I'm on my second one, and I'm sure I will buy another one. It's one of those that people get that preconceived notion. Of course, it's a newer thing that Angel's Envy's done. This is the first tawny port finish in the state of Georgia. I do not know how many exist in the country right now. I've heard a couple different numbers, but I know it was the first in the state of Georgia, of course. You'll notice that theme as we kind of continue through this, that we get a lot of first access for the state. We're a very large store, probably one of the largest in the state. So this is a phenomenal Angel's Envy product. And like I said, it's a little bit of a hard sell because people get that idea in their head that it's Angel's Envy. I try my best to allow, of course, my personal bottles. I share those with people all the time to kind of let them know, but just describing it, it's much different than, of course, our previous picks and a lot of the stuff I've had on the shelf.
Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm sure if you blind this one with somebody too, they would have no.
Oh, absolutely. That was another thing, like, because it doesn't. I don't want to say this is a bad thing, but it didn't. To me, it didn't taste like what I expected from Angel's Envy.
Yeah. People have like a preconceived notion of something and they don't want to drink it, and then you try a blind and it kind of
Absolutely.
blows your mind. You're like, I didn't even know that was.
It's a really great way to try stuff and to get those preconceived notions out of your head. Of course, on to 1792 Foolproof. The allure of the 1792 Foolproof is that for what you're getting, it's always been a phenomenal price. So first thing first, this pick is the same price as a regular bottle would be on the shelf. So if you went and bought a regular Foolproof 1792, it would cost you $51.99. So you're not losing any money to get the pick, and the pick is better. Side by side, it's better. For a 7 to 8-ish year product, generally at 125 proof for $50. Generally across the board, that's a hard one to beat.
Especially for the price too.
Absolutely. In the past, I've noticed that some of the regular Foolproofs to me have drank kind of overly hot from time to time. This one I didn't quite get that. I think a lot more flavor comes out and it's not quite as harsh in general for me. But for $51, if somebody wants to come in and spend around that $50 price point and get something great that's going to really be a bang for a buck, this is a great one. It always is. So moving on to Smoke Wagon. This is the rye. Now I say rye, and it is a rye, but if you look at the mash bill that they checked off on the bottom here, it is 51% rye, 49% malted barley.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
it is a
super
rye
good.
on a technicality,
Yeah.
of course. It is legally a rye, being 51% rye. It is a very unique flavor. It's sweet, it's fruity, it's got a lot of creamy texture to it. I think this is an absolutely phenomenal rye. It sat over there for a very long time. People didn't know about it. Ryes can be a harder sell. Typically people steer away from the rye, but
I think once you have a really good rye, it kind of breaks you into the rye world, and then I've almost really enjoyed drinking rye. Almost not as much as bourbon, but pretty close.
absolutely. And especially once you realize how big of a range of ryes there is. So people try a rye, they try one that tastes like grass clippings.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is what rye is, I don't want this. And you just kind of got to branch out.
And then you have your first Jack Daniel's barrel-proof rye, and you're like,
Yes.
this is what a rye should be.
Absolutely. And that's a phenomenal bottle for the price. Gosh.
Yeah, I hit over there. You guys had a bunch of from the Coy Hill warehouse, and people look for that warehouse. And I was like, all of them are good.
Yeah,
All of those
absolutely.
guys are good.
Definitely pushes that way. So down here, this is the first Wilderness Trail we'll talk about. We have another one that's over there we'll talk about a little bit later, but this is our weeded mash bill from Wilderness Trail. Wilderness Trail is one that I have not quite delved as deep as I really like to. Now, of course, I do own the weeded one. I don't own the bourbon one anymore. I finished it. There's a couple left on the shelf. I'm probably going to have to get another one. But this is another one that I believe it's around that $60 price point too. We'll definitely look over there once we get over to that other side. But it's another one of those that's an easy one to talk somebody into, especially as a weeded. It's super smooth, easy to drink, it's soft. It's one that especially if people are really trying to delve more into the store picks, but they don't want to spend a ton of money, of course. It's a great starting point. And Wilderness Trail it's another one of those places that has options.
Yeah.
So if you wanted their shelf stuff, like we've got a couple really unique shelf options from them as well. But it's a great starting point for a lot of people, and I like to push people into that part of it. So, on to the Found North.
I think I've seen you on Instagram hyping this one up a little bit. Yeah.
So I am personally a big fan of Found North. I've done a lot of work with them on my channel and a couple other things. I love Found North. It is Canadian whiskey. That's one of the first things I like to tell people when I talk about this bottle, because people will start to read the back. They'll figure it out pretty quickly, and it turns a lot of people off of it. As soon as they hear Canadian whiskey, they're like, oh, it's Canadian whiskey. So they associate it's Crown or it's something cheap Canadian whiskey, and that's not what this is. This is what Canadian whiskey should be. Of course, this one specifically is a blend of 12 to 25-year-old whiskey. It breaks it down on the back. It's got a 12 and a 21-year-old rye, and then a handful of older corn whiskeys.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, it was finished in that cherry liqueur cask. It is the first cherry liqueur cask finished in the state of Georgia. We took half of this barrel. One of the co-owners of Found North came down from Canada when we did the pick, and he sat in with us to do the pick. Awesome experience. Great people there. The team there is phenomenal. They sent me a hat for Christmas. But just, it's a good experience. It's a good place, and they make phenomenal whiskey. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a while now. If you've not had any of their special releases, those are always great. They're not necessarily cheap. They tend to run about $160, $170 for their special releases. I think almost all of them I've ever had have been absolutely worth that price point. I've had some that I've not been the biggest fan of, but it's few and far between for sure. But at $99 for a product that's a blend of all those really nice old dusty sweet whiskeys. Another thing is the cherry liqueur. It's there as a note. It's not the underlying essence of what this bottle is. It's not a heavy mouthful of cherry. It's not fake.
Not overpowering.
It's not. It's just a subtle tasting note, and it's great. I think it complements everything very well. It is dusty. It's got a lot of old stuff in it. It's got that nice rye spice. It's got a really old rye in it as well. This has got a ton of stuff going on. I love to talk people into trying this stuff, to show them what Canadian whiskey really can be, which is quite fantastic. Moving on, we have Nash Tucky. This is a Nashville Barrel Company product. Of course, it's a bourbon from them. This is one that when it came in, it was one that I was not a huge fan of at first. I opened it, it drank a little hot, and I was like, this is just okay. It's not an outrageously expensive. It's $85. It's a single barrel pick. Of course, it's 7 years old. And Nashville Barrel Company has a lot of really great products.
Yeah. I've had some of their single barrels, and they're just, most of them that I had are really, really good.
Absolutely. Now, of course, once this was opened, I don't ever like to write a bottle off until I've, given it every possible opportunity I can. And I would say I got down to about the word Kentucky, and I'd let it sit for a handful of months, and I wouldn't say forgot about it, but it sat for a while, and I quit going back to it consistently. And I finally went back to it one day. Like I said, it had been a couple months. I had been through about a third of the bottle, and I went back to it, and it had changed completely. It had lightened up. It had smoothed out a ton. It wasn't harsh anymore. And once the harshness had kind of got out of it, you really got to get the flavor in it. And it's one of those that just kind of fills your mouth up. It's very viscous, very, very full of flavor. And of course, I came back and bought another one.
It's been a trend. You drink one and then you're like, I gotta get another one.
Absolutely. I probably spend more money here than I'd like to admit. But I think it's absolutely worth it.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it's one of those, I always tell people, don't give up on bottles. Now, there's some bottles, I'll say even for me, there's some bottles that just never got better for me, in general. But I try really, really hard not to give up on bottles. And if it's something that's not for you, it's for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because every single bottle that I've ever not wanted to finish, I've given it all the chances I could. I found somebody that loved it. So that's the beauty of what we do. It's the beauty of everything we have going on in the bourbon and whiskey world, is that everybody's palates are different. So you get an opportunity to try something new and give somebody an opportunity.
Yeah.
Moving on, Old Pepper. So if you've tried the James E. Pepper decanter bottles, that distillery, that Old Pepper distillery, this is the rye we handpicked from them. We also picked a bourbon. Of course, the bourbon sold really quickly because it's a bourbon, and the rye is still here because it's a rye. In my opinion, between the bourbon and the rye we picked, the rye was better. This one tends to be a little bit of a sweeter rye too. 4 years old. Again, in that nice $60 price point. So if you wanted to find a really good rye. And this one, I do believe it's 114 proof. So if you look at their cast strength rye from Old Pepper that's over on our shelf, it's a good bit more expensive than that. So to get something that's in that nice cast strength range, it's got a ton of flavor to it, this is a great transition rye for people. This is one that I love to recommend to people if once again, if said they don't like rye or they want to get into rye and they don't know what to try first. This is a good starter rye for people. It's got enough of that rye spice and that traditional rye in it to give you a sense of what rye really is, at the same time not having a little bit of that sweetness and nice, light, even softness.
I feel like last year was the year of the rye. All the good ryes that came out, I think it kind of like transitioned people over to thinking like, this is what good rye is, and then now people are like exploring more of what ryes are available.
Absolutely.
Finding stuff on the shelves that are just, that has been sitting there for a while and they had no idea, and they go open it and it's just
absolutely
really
rediscovering stuff. I mean, even myself, like even because I've been a fan of rye for a long time, but there's always something new.
Mm-hmm.
So all the time, you never stop looking, you never stop finding cool stuff. On stock here, Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. It is a cast strength in this case being 96 proof. So as opposed to your typical 90 proof, which would be your regular double oak, you're getting 96 proof. And for me, you could tell a difference in the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's not a huge jump in proof, but that means there's no water in this. That means it was cast strength at this. So at no point was it proofed down even a little bit, and you can tell the difference in that. Now, of course, you're looking at almost double the price point between a regular shelf double oak. Now, of course, if you find a regular store pick, you're still going to look at $60, $70. So maybe not quite the massive jump from that. If you compare it that way, this is substantially better than the regular bottle on the shelf.
Yeah, that's one thing I was curious about when I came and saw that. I saw the proof, and I know it's a little bit higher proof, but it's uncut, and it's kind of interesting. I usually use the typical ones for like mixers and stuff like that, like this store one. That sounded way better. Just the extra proof point and being uncut.
Absolutely, for me, it's worth buying. It's worth buying at least once.
Yeah.
It's worth getting the experience of, in my opinion, what it should be. And of course, it was also our 9-year anniversary bottle. So nice, cool sticker. Mm-hmm. One of our stockroom managers does graphic design, and he designed these stickers. He's designed artwork for a couple of our things. He's really good at doing it. We love to have him do that stuff. It's a ton of fun, of course, getting the employees here in the store involved, and they do a really good job of that too. That's absolutely phenomenal. So moving on this way, we have Doc Swinson. So Doc Swinson is out of Washington State. The first one we'll talk about is their bourbon. This is an 8-year product, so it's aged for 4 years at MGP, and then an additional 4 years in Washington State. I think the drastic change of location does make for a very uniqueness to it.
Oh yeah, it's completely different. Yeah.
I think for this one, I got a lot of nice dustiness from it, even though it's only 8 years old. It's a nice sweet dustiness to it. It's one of those that it's unique. And a lot of Doc Swinson products that I've had are very unique, and that's just I would say their more standard offering, of course. And then moving on to this being their 9-year Funky Drummer, part of their experimental series, finished in Jamaican rum casks.
That's talked to I can't remember the other guy's name. He was telling me that's one of his favorite ones here. Is that one finished in the rum cask? It
is one that for a long time I never wanted anything to do with. Mm-hmm. Never really thought about it. Like, it never jumped out as something that I was like, I need to have that or try it. And then recently, actually, probably within the past month or so, I did a video on our social media page talking about that bottle, going a little more in depth about it, and it's just so good. And it's called the Funky Drummer, of course, and a good way to describe it is funky. And describing things as funky to people tends to not be the best thing all the time. People hear funky, so it kind of turns them off of it a little bit. So I do try to go a little more in depth, of course. You get that nice sweetness from the rum. It's that nice, I don't want to say tropical sweetness, but it is. Of course, on top of a very nice traditional light rye notes as well. So that's absolutely fantastic. We talked a little bit about our Smoke Wagon rye earlier, and of course this is our bourbon as well. It's 7 years old. For me, the bourbons from Smoke Wagon, these have been a very hit or miss thing for me. I've had a lot of them that I thought were just okay, and I've had quite a few of them that I think are absolutely phenomenal. For me, there's not been a whole lot of in between. I get a lot of like cherry cobbler on a lot of the really good ones that I like. I think in general that's a good note for me, and of course, phenomenal bottling. I love the packaging of the Smoke Wagon stuff. It's a good looking bottle. It's good on the shelf. I've helped pick a couple of these for other places throughout the years. It's one that I really enjoy doing. I think they have a very wide uniqueness of products and options. So those have always been quite fantastic. And then we'll kind of end over here on what I would say, I always call it the overflow. Of course, we have some stuff you've seen already that's kind of here. It's just a second place for it to be, of course. People come in and see that. And then a couple things that, of course, are low enough to where they have a spot on the shelf and then not quite enough for a barrel.
Yeah, I had the 10-year that you guys did for the 8-year release, and I love that bottle.
It's phenomenal, and it wasn't very long ago that we sold the last bottle of that. And it was not a cheap one.
Yeah.
But it was one that I think the price was well warranted.
Yeah, it's really good, and the packaging is beautiful too.
Absolutely, Dark Arts has for a long time they've just had absolutely phenomenal packaging.
Yeah.
Now the Dark Arts stuff, hand signed by Macaulay. He's good friends with the ownership here. Of course, they know him very well. He's been in the store a couple times. Of course, last time he was in the store, he just came through and hand signed a bunch of our bottles. Super cool guy. If you ever get a chance to meet him. But of course, this is our double oaked rye. Absolutely phenomenal. We were talking about it earlier, but finishing ryes, double oaking ryes. I just think it's an awesome experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
In general, of course, onto our toasted French oak stave. This one, if you're looking for something that truly embodies French oak, this is it. Especially when you start to toast it. Think toasted vanilla sweetness. So if you've had any Nulu products, all of the Nulu I've ever had has a very distinctive funk to it. And I don't like describing the funk to people because it typically turns them off, but I think really nice toasted wax. That's a funky note that I get off of it.
I've never heard that one before.
And it's strange, and it's just the way I did. That's the first thing that comes to my head, but to me it's a pleasant note.
Yeah.
And I've noticed in general, people either really like that note or they don't. They don't like it at all. Now, of course, the distillate in this bottle came from Jim Beam. Think toasted peanuts and that Nulu funk on top of it. So if you do enjoy Nulu products and you like Jim Beam products, this is a perfect match between the two of them. It's probably one of my favorite picks out of the store. I probably bought more of this bottle out of the store than any other pick. I am a huge fan of that one. I love it quite a bit. And then the last thing we can talk about is this Penelope Project X, finished in Oloroso sherry and cognac casks. We have 5 of these left.
I remember when you guys got that, you had a huge selection. Just seeing 5 now is
absolutely, and especially now. Of course, they got low, and it did slow down a good bit. But in general, the thing that has turned a lot of people off this bottle is if they don't like the sherry. The sherry has been most people's problem with it. It's a nice, bright, rich fruitiness up front from the sherry, into that nice traditional mid palate from, of course, the Penelope bourbon, and then that nice dry nuttiness and balance on the back end from the cognac. In my opinion, it's a phenomenal blend. I love the combination of those in this bottle, and of course, it's a really cool bottle.
And anything Penelope makes is anything I've had from them for the most part has been really, really good.
I love a vast majority of Penelope's products, especially once you start to get mid to high tier in Penelope.
The 10 years that you find, and I'm shooting myself because I had a chance to buy one of the 13 years and I didn't. And
That's a phenomenal bottle.
Yeah, I mean I got a Beacon otherwise, so I can't be mad about it.
Okay, that's not a horrible trade-off.
Yeah, but I could have went back through the line and got a Beacon, or I could have got the 13 and then came back through and got the Beacon, and I was like,
of course,
whatever. So
absolutely
awesome. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so TikTok for now, of course. I don't know if you're on TikTok, but that may not be around for super long as far as one of my places. But Instagram, YouTube, do a lot of short form content, a lot of reviews, a lot of talking about stuff. But I'm the real Will Easy. That's what I am on everything. So it's been a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun working here. It's a great place. Of course, those were just our store picks. We could sit there for the next 2 hours and talk about all the awesome regular shelf bottles that are here. And there's always something new and crazy coming in. The access here is phenomenal, and we're always looking for something cool, awesome, and new to do as well.
All right, well, you heard it here. You go search him up on Instagram or TikTok, and then give him a follow.
That's going to wrap up my hunt here at the Bottle Shop. As you saw in the video, they have a great single barrel selection, a huge selection of bourbon in general. I mean, it makes up almost half their store, and they really take pride in all their single barrels they pick, and definitely have a lot of guys with a lot of experience picking those single barrels. Like I said at the beginning, if you can, please leave a like, a comment, and a subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you're in the Columbus area, make sure you give this place a stop by and check out what they have. They usually do their allocated drops on special days. Last year they did one on Father's Day, and then they did one on Black Friday, so it's usually special events like that. But if you're in the area, give it a check it out, and we're on to the next hunt.